Aravind Rama Das received his Bachelor's in Science in Agriculture from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University and will complete his Master's in Agricultural Extension and Communication from San Higginbottom University of Agriculture, Technology, and Sciences in 2021. His research covers organic and sustainable architecture and traditional tribal architecture practices of Kurichiya and Kuruma tribes of Wayanad and throughout Kerala, India. He currently works at Mitraniketan. And then to introduce Aravind's father, Reghu Rama Das, we've been friends for decades, but not our whole lives. Reghu has worked at Mitraniketan as principal of its People's College and in other capacities since 1995. He has served as Joint Director of Mitraniketan since May 2014. Dr. Rama Das has traveled globally in his work and research. He trained in folk education in the Association of Danish Folk High Schools and has visited different Danish folk high schools and teacher training colleges in Denmark. In 2003, he visited Community Solutions, Antioch College, and the Arthur Morgan School in North Carolina. He trained in development methodologies in the Wageningen Agriculture University in the Netherlands in 1998 and in 2009. Dr. Ram Das is a co-coordinator of the All India Coordinated Project on, and I'm not sure what SC, but I suspect it's Sustainable Community Development.
Scheduled caste. It's a scheduled caste. It's
okay.
A social community.
Okay, that's a mystery to me. Reghu, you'll have to maybe explain that further. Anyway, and with the support of the department, Dr. Reghu Rama Das received his PhD in sociology from Kerala University. So without further ado, I will turn this over to Reghu and Aravind.
Okay. Good afternoon, all my friends. Can I share my screen first?
Incidentally, it's about 11:30 in the morning or at night in Mitraniketan, just so you know.
Okay. So thank you, Susan, and all of the friends for inviting me to give a presentation on Arthur Morgan Legacy Conference. Thank you very much. In fact, this has given me an opportunity to learn the ideas of Arthur Morgan as well as Viswanathan. So that again inspiring me to work continuously for Mitraniketan in the spirit in which Viswanathan has envisaged. I was asked to speak on Morgan's work in education in rural India as well as for Mitraniketan. I mostly focused on Mitraniketan. For other members, Mitraniketan, the word Mitraniketan means home of friends. It's a small community in India founded in the year 1956 when I was not born. The community was established in India, in the southern part of India, most southern tip of India, called Kerala state in Trivandrum. So when I talk about the history of Mitraniketan, I should tell about the two persons. One is Arthur Morgan and then is Viswanathan, or shortly called Viswan. See, this picture is taken in 1954. I think it is in 1954. And Viswanathan founded Mitraniketan, and Arthur Morgan was very much influenced him. This is primarily, Mitraniketan is both a community as well as a cooperative education center. We used to call this as community-based education project. This project has been integrated with the ideas of Gandhi, Tagore, Arthur Morgan, as well as Grundtvig. Viswanathan was very much influenced by these four philosophers, and he incorporated their ideas in the activities which is going on in Mitraniketan. So when I talk about Origin of Mitraniketan, of course, it starts with the meeting of Viswanathan and Morgan in a conference in New Jersey in 1954. In fact, they met in 1954, and I do believe Morgan has invited Viswan to stay with him in Yellow Springs for 1 year. He was really impressed by the ideas of Morgan, especially the idea of small communities. Mitraniketan is called is a small community. Each and every member of Mitraniketan used to say that I am a member of the community. During the visit, living in United States, Viswan visited a number of small community centers in United States and also 2 folk high schools. That is Highlander Folk High School as well as John C. Campbell Folk High School. These folk high schools actually also inspired him. That leads him to visit Denmark after he leaving from United States. So he spent 1 year in different folk high schools in Denmark. It involved the spirit of folk education. That is also a kind of a community-based lifelong learning education. And after his visit, he come back to his own village at Wayanad and started this community called Mitraniketan in 1956. Now we are in the 65th year, or we are just completing the 65th year. So this is a picture of Arthur Morgan, Lucy Morgan, and Viswan in 1954. It's a precious picture. We have kept it. I hope this is available with it is with Susan also and Lee also. So there is another rare book. It is called "It Can Be Done in Education," written by Arthur Morgan. This book, very specifically, this book was written in 1964 or 66, specifically describing the educational thoughts of Arthur Morgan and Viswan, and they are mentioning the drawbacks of the formal system of education, and they are highlighting the importance of small communities. And also Morgan explained how Viswan has introduced his idea into practice at Mitraniketan. That is why he has written the name, given the name of the book as "It Can Be Done in Education." So education ideas of Morgan adopted by Viswan. In fact, 3 ideas of Morgan has been adopted by Viswan for establishing Mitraniketan. The first one is practice-based education. That is, importance is given for learning values than learning facts. Second one is the strong belief in small communities, and also the importance of small industries. So he has integrated these ideas in all the activities of Mitraniketan. We used to say we are following community-based education in an education-based community. Or in other words, we used to say community-centered education in an education-centered community. So Mitraniketan is an education-centered community. For both Morgan and Viswan, education is an integration of learning from the community and the school. Viswan used to call this as development education. So his concept of education is later evolved in the form of a development education. Rather, he integrated many development activities for the people with education. As far as the vision of Mitraniketan is concerned, actually it is a community with he visualized a community with active citizenship, involvement of the members of the community actively in the development of the community. That is the idea behind Mitraniketan, because we used to promote rural leadership. Those leadership has to work in the community actively for the development of the community, for which development education is the means for the active citizenship. That is the community-based education. So the mission of the institution is progress of the society through the total development of the individual. Total development of the individual takes place from the community-based education programs. We believe that educated youth is not only part of the family, but an active member of the local community. Normally in the formal system of education, people are more or less in and around the family. We wanted to put the people in the community. This is basically we visualizing in all our activities and education programs. Then of course, when we come to the contribution of Morgan to India and Mitraniketan, there are 2 main contributions which I would like to highlight. One of the things is that India got independence from British in 1947. In the early years, Government of India focused more on promoting education, in which the government has established a few education committees. One of the main education committees, University Education Committee, in that commission, Arthur Morgan was one of the members. He worked for that commission from 1948 to 1950. In fact, he visited a number of rural villages in India and found that the community in the villages have no access to education. So this is one of his recommendation to promote rural universities in India. There is that commission report is with Mitraniketan now. It's an 800-page book in which there is a special chapter on rural communities. That in the rural communities, he has highlighted the importance of community, technical education, and also promoting rural universities, education centers at the villages so that people have close access to education centers. That is his main contribution to India, especially for education, that is still relevant. Another thing, second contribution of him is nothing but establishment of his motivation to establish the Mitraniketan community in India in 1956. It still continued to function with changes based on the change in the technologies and all. As I mentioned, we are in the 65th year now. And of course, Morgan not only contributed in terms of ideas and motivation, but he also contributed in terms of resources, especially to expanding the area of Mitraniketan, because the Mitraniketan communities land area is now increased, especially for agriculture and all, for which Mitraniketan got support from Morgan. Especially whenever we are in need for sustaining the activities, it was the support from Morgan. Similarly, Morgan visited Mitraniketan in the year 1967, after 10 years of establishment of Mitraniketan. I read in a book about the visit, he commented that Mitraniketan is more than I had expected. So in some brief, he says that Morgan saw that learning and working together created a vibrant community in Mitraniketan. When it comes to the growth of Mitraniketan, growth is always depends on the local needs. What the local community need is very important. In the 1956, when Viswanathan started Mitraniketan, the main problems are poverty, unemployment, and illiteracy. So he started addressing two issues, mainly education and employment, so that many local people has been attracted to learn from the community, to develop skills from the community and get employment, because the poverty was the main issue. Then after 10 years, the institution has grown. There is a need for legalizing the institution. Though Viswanathan is not interested, he wanted to continue the institution as an informal organization, but it was not possible. So he has registered the organization in 1967 as a non-profit organization. So it is a legal entity. Then over the years, our education programs has been integrated with agriculture activities, rural industries, women development programs, science and technology programs, and many programs including environment and all. In all these times, in fact, we have kept a balance between formal and practice-based education in the community. Of course, the area of the community, as I mentioned before, extended, especially the land has been extended for cultivation. Today, Mitraniketan is networked with the like-minded institutions for achieving its goals, especially with the universities and all. In the case of education, we need to link with the universities because of the certification related issues. People today can move very easily from one place to other place for employment and all. So we more or less changed based on the local needs, but without compromising our ideas and philosophy. This is a picture of the assembly of Mitraniketan. The community members, especially the students, teachers, and staff members, and also the all Indians from different parts of the world, we all met together in the morning in the assembly hall, share a few thoughts, some songs, and all those things. This is the part of the community living. Then, of course, one of the major activity of Mitraniketan is the school. The school is the core of Mitraniketan. Without school, there is nothing. So Viswanathan wanted to put school as the center of the community. Of course, this was a community-based residential school, and the school is mainly meant for the people from the forest villages. From the most of our students are from the forest villages, from the poor family background they have. So they need dependence. They are depending not only for education but for their life and livelihood also. So in the school, as based on our ideas and philosophy, the education is integrated with the community life activities. Participation in the community is very important. The advantage is that through the community life, one can learn practical, the students can learn practical knowledge, acquire values, and change irrelevant practices, which is practiced in the communities because of the ignorance and all. Of course, we have integrated art, craft, agriculture, and vocational education in the learning process for the children. Just to show you two pictures to see what are the activities primarily we are following. On the one hand, we motivate the students in this classroom-based education. On the other hand, they also have a lot of opportunities in the community-based activities. Here, the children are planting paddy, that is the rice seeds in the paddy field. Similarly, a number of activities in which they are involved. So these are the background of our children. These are the photos from the villages, from the forest villages, the children, our students in front of their home. So these students are really in need of the support from us, from the community like Mitraniketan. We continue to work with them. We utilized, our facilities are primarily utilized by these communities. And of course, we have a kindergarten for the local children from the local villages. Then People's College is our another major project. It is actually folk high school, Danish model folk high schools. This has been established in the year 1996, supported by the Danish government. We have established this with the help of Association of Danish folk high schools. The concept is education for life, or we used to call school for life. This is primarily meant for young people and women. Empowerment of youth through life skills and livelihood skills, livelihood skill development is the objective of this program. So here again, we followed the community-based education leading to employment and also leading to the development of all Indias for the community. Today, the college is linked with the university for certification. The university is called the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, where they have a school of vocational education. We have linked with that school of vocational education because they are also giving importance to practice-based education. We are running a course called BEVOC, Bachelor of Vocational Education in Agriculture. It is a 3-year program in which 60% is practice-based education, while 40% is theory-based education. Then the presence of volunteers in Mitraniketan from all over the world is there. These are a group of students from Edinburgh University. So they come as part of a project, and they are going to the village to construct biogas. It's a biogas related project in which they work with the technically skilled master masons so that there is opportunity to learn from each other. So she is a volunteer from United States. She worked in our nursery for almost 3 months. And in addition to that, there are interns coming from Andia College also. Some in early 2000, there are 2003, some few corps from the Andia College also spend 3 to 6 months each in Mitraniketan. Of course, when I talk about volunteers, I should not forget our friend Lee Morgan, because he is one of our first volunteers, spent long time in Mitraniketan, and he served in various capacities. When the institution was legalized, he was one of our board members. He has very good familiarity with the local community members also. Now he is with, not with Vision, he is with Vishambaran. He was the Indian Parliament member from the Trivandrum area. So this is a group of study group visited from China. So they came for 1-day visit few years ago, and they are with Viswanathan. Viswanathan, you can see in the middle of the group. So another main project is our Rural Technology Center. That is actually Morgan's idea of promoting small industries. So the Rural Technology Center is mainly promoting small industries. It is a kind of a training cum production centers. So on the one hand, we can train the people for employment. On the other hand, we generate income through production that will sustain that training center or small industry. Along with that, some sort of research and development is also going on. So we have workshops, metal workshops, coconut fiber-based production unit, carpentry, pottery, bakery. We have a baking unit supported by the Germans, then weaving programs. Then recently we have introduced a solar panel in technicians lab, then fruit processing. Similar workshops are there. All of them are working more or less on a no profit, no loss basis. Some of them are creating profit. So promoting industry is one of the small industries is one of the ideas learned from Adam, adopted from Adam Morgan, and still we are continuing it for the sustainability of this community. So these are some of the examples of rural technology. On the left side, you can see rainwater harvesting unit. This we are promoting in the villages also. During water scarcity, they can use this rainwater stored from the rooftop. And the other one is mostly coconut fiber. Plenty of coconut is available. From coconut husk, we extract fiber, and that is used to make yarn. It's called coir. That rope is used for making value-added products. Today, we have export orders from France for these organic-based coir products. And the other picture on the left side is mud block machine, mud block press. It is actually clay-based brick, only 85% clay, 5% cement, 10% sand. The other burn bricks which we are buying from the market is very not only expensive, but it is a lot of firewood is used to burn it. So that is emitting a large quantity of carbon. And of course, artistic pottery, that is also part of these small industry units. And about agriculture, we have a farm science center supported by the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, coconut farms, rubber plantations, banana cultivation, tuber crops, and spices, dairy, poultry. All these things will be explained by Aravind in his after my presentation. Then we are also promoting women development programs on a large scale. We have self-help groups or credit unions in the villages. We train a large number of women in different skills so that they will get employment, and also they start small enterprises at the village level. Recently, we have initiated 4 micro enterprises for women in the tribal villages. It is in jackfruit processing. Jackfruit is plenty available in our villages. That is a local resources. It can be used for making different value-added products. Then another area in which we are working is we have a secondary packaging unit linking with a company called Latex, where we are giving employment to 150 women from the local villages. So this is a photo of a trained woman in artistic pottery. They have been trained 1 year, and they are with Viswanathan and Mrs. Viswanathan with the products they have made. Similarly, a large number of training programs we have conducted for the village women. This is the group of women who are working in the packaging unit. We have about 150 women working. They are not supplementing their family income. In fact, they are contributing the major income of the family. So this is another unit or project of Mitraniketan. It is, you know very well, it is a city center. We have a heritage building in Trivandrum city, given Viswanathan has bought for a low price from the Travancore king. So that is used for some of our city-based education programs, as well as we are renting it out for generating income. So this is functioning very well. There is a lot of demand in the city, but we cannot make any change in the building because it's a heritage building. So this is the picture of Viswanathan and his wife. He got the national award called Padma Shri, which he got for his 50 or 55 years of long work in the field of community education and community development. The award is given by the President of India. This picture is, I am fortunate to take this picture right in front of the President's house in India, in New Delhi. Now comes to agriculture. I request Aravind to make a brief presentation on agricultural activities of KVK.
Thank you, Reghu.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Myself, Aravind V Rama Das, and I am a member of the Mitraniketan community. First of all, I would like to thank everyone, Lee Chetan, Susan, Rose, who was with us during the trial presentation, and everyone else who is a part of this conference for having given me this opportunity to be part of this conference. And now from here, I will be explaining about the KVK, or the Farm Science Center, which is an important part of Mitraniketan, which has been contributing to agriculture since the past 42 years. First of all, before going into the activities of KVK, I would like to give you all a brief of what is a KVK and its role in India. Basically, a KVK is an agriculture extension center, which is designed to impart need-based and skill-oriented training to the farmers and also field-level extension workers. So it functions at the district level and is completely financed by the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, which is a unit, which is a research center functioning under the government of India. The sanction for hosting a KVK in every district is granted to either an agriculture university or to a research station or to an NGO that is working in agriculture. The Mitraniketan KVK was provided with, was sanctioned, and it was established in the year 1979. Next slide, please. In India, every KVK functions based on three basic principles. So the first one is that agriculture production will be the primary goal. The second one, that the transfer of knowledge will take place through work experience, that is learning by doing. And the last one is that priority will be given to the weaker sections of the society. Apart from these basic principles of KVK, which is similar for all of them, each KVK in every locality will have a specific set of responsibilities to function. And these responsibilities are usually determined on the basis of the needs of the clientele, based on the resources, and also on the, it is based on the nature of the ecosystem. The Mitraniketan KVK has been focusing on doubling the income of farmers by the transfer of technology to the farmers. So based on the potential for agriculture growth in the locality, the KVK has established different units on a permanent basis. So these include the mushroom unit, which provides training to the farmers and also to women groups in establishing mushroom units. We also produce spawn, which is a seed for producing mushroom. And we also produce value-added products of mushrooms, such as mushroom soup powder and pickles. Then we have production of compost. We produce different kinds of compost, among which vermicompost and cocoa pit compost are given more emphasis, as they are more effective and also widely utilized by the farmers. And the most common utilizers are usually the gardeners and also farmers who do terrace farming, and also the small scale farmers. We also provide training on establishing compost units. The KVK also has a soil testing laboratory, which helps the farmers to test their soil in identifying the fluctuations in the pH and their soil physical properties. And once the test is finished, the farmers are issued with a soil health card, which has got the details of their soil and also recommendations for improving the soil. And the picture given below is a training being given to the agriculture students on testing their soil sample. The plant nursery in the KVK involves production of samplings of coconut, mango, jackfruit, and also several other fruits. We also have a medicinal garden and a flowering plants garden. The medicinal plant garden has got different plants which we have collected from different parts of the country. We also produce the seeds and seedlings of vegetables, and it is one of the major, it is a major advantage for the farmers, as not every farmer can produce their own seeds in their farm. Especially the small scale farmers, it is a big advantage for them. On the horticulture side, apart from the flowering plants, we also focus on propagation of orchids. So coming to the post-harvest technologies. In the post-harvest activities, we have been giving more importance to value addition, as in the recent times, it has been identified as a major solution for farmers who have been facing the problem of distressed sale in the market, especially with the perishable agriculture produce. So we have been providing training to farmers in producing value-added products. And some of the agriculture commodities we utilize are jackfruit, banana, coconut, mushroom, ragi, and many others. And some products include jam, baby foods, oils, fruit juices, chocolates, cookies, and others. These are some of the value-added products which we have made here. And the first one is a squash made from banana pseudostem. And the second one is a jackfruit juice. This is virgin coconut oil, which has been packed and ready for marketing. And the second picture is the arrowroot powder, which is in fact having a great market in India. The bio-input production. As we have been promoting organic farming among the farmers, we also motivate them in the use of bio-inputs, such as biofertilizers, botanical pesticides, biopesticides, microbial pesticides, and also the use of biocontrol agents also for plant protection. We also produce some of the bio-inputs. The picture given below, the first one is a bio-input which has been made from cassava leaves, which can be used for plant protection. And the second one is the Pseudomonas fluorescens, which is an important part in organic farming used for developing plant resistance. Here, then we have the animal science division, which is an important part of KVK as it has been established since the beginning of the KVK. And we have a dairy unit with different indigenous cattle breeds. And we also conduct artificial insemination for breed improvement programs. And we have established 16 insemination centers in different interior villages where the farmers cannot reach the dairies or the research stations. We also have a poultry for the supply of quality chicks to the farmers. And recently we have initiated a goat breeding program for providing quality and pure breed goats to the farmers. So these are some of the training programs being conducted by the KVK. This is a demonstration of drone technology for the farmers in application of micronutrients in the paddy field. And this was demonstrated in the state of Kerala for the first time by our KVK. The first picture here is the demonstration given to farmers in the use of coconut climber, which is used for harvesting coconuts. And this has been a major advantage for coconut farm holders, as they are finding it difficult to get laborers for harvesting coconuts. So using this coconut climber, any person can climb a coconut tree and harvest the coconut without much difficulties. And the second picture here is a training given to farmers on the preparation of different bio inputs. And the training is being given by some of the successful farmers in coordination with our KVK. This is one of our best women farmer we have. She has been cultivating more than 50 different types of vegetables and even fruits in a small area in her terrace. And she has been recognized and given several awards for her work. And she also provides training and motivation. She also motivates women to come into agriculture by adopting terrace farming. The transfer of technology to the farmers from the scientists and from the research station takes place, and it is made possible by adopting different extension methods. Some of the methods which we widely use include demonstrations, group meetings, trainings, farmers' day, exhibitions, use of farm publications, and many others. Besides the technology dissemination and training programs, the subject matter specialists or the scientists working in KVK, they do follow-up activities, and also they carry out diagnostic visit to the farmer's field at least once in a week. And these visits are for both plants and animals, so that there is a regular contact with the farmer and we can identify their problems and also provide them recommendations. And thereby we are able to improve the productivity in our locality. Now, this is the photo of a national award being given to our KVK for being the best in India. Now with this, I would like to conclude my presentation on KVK, and the remaining will be presented by Dr. Reghu.
Susan, I have 2-3 slides. Do you have time for that? Okay. Okay. So, Lee, I would like to mention a few projects of Mitraniketan which is almost disappeared. One is the most important is the printing press established with the support of the Morgan family, and also the Lee Morgan directly worked in the printing press. It was a letter press. Currently, the technology changed. Unfortunately, we could not cope up with this technology. But fortunately, Lee Morgan and other friends has trained a large number of young people. They are all working in different printing presses, or they have started their own press. Our press is now slowly converting into a kind of a museum because all those machines are very old and precious machines. And similarly, the second project, which is drop or almost nil, is weaving. And handloom weaving was one of the major activity here in Mitraniketan, and almost 300 women were working. Today, the wage is almost less. Even if they work from morning till evening, they get $1 or $2. At the same time, the wage rate outside is $10 and above. So very few people are interested. So weaving is also gone down drastically. Then these are the two major projects which is not with Mitraniketan now. Then, of course, the change is change the methodologies. The charity-based extension activities has been more or less reduced by Mitraniketan because of this. That has been creating dependency. Because earlier government used to support Mitraniketan to do such type of extension activities. Then, of course, conventional cultivation practices like tapioca cultivation and all become very expensive. So, as Aravind said, is now the technology is being adopted. So there is change in that process of activities. Then, of course, you might be interesting, where should we, Mitraniketan, find funds? So we have 3 sources from which we get funds, mainly from our own sources. That is production from our small industries, from our small farms or rubber plantations, and also rent from the buildings. And we have getting government support from the Department of Science and Technology, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, that is the government support. And thirdly, from our well-wishers and friends like Morgan Family Foundation, and also Friends of Mitraniketan in Denmark and Friends of Mitraniketan in Germany. There are 2 small communities in Denmark and Germany. They visited Mitraniketan and they formed small communities they also used to support. So approximately, I will say that 1/3 of the fund is raised from our own sources, 1/3 of the fund is from the government programs and projects, and 1/3 is from the well-wishers. This is how the nature of current status of the funding for Mitraniketan. Then, of course, what is the goal for the future? That is a very important question. When Viswanathan passed away, we all thought we should introduce an award in his name to keep his legacy and all, but we all decided, and some of the very important people told us, don't do like that. You should keep and sustain the activities initiated by Viswanathan. So the goal for the future is actually to keep the community spirit as such and sustain the community living in Mitraniketan. Of course, along with that, we should continue to promote education integrated with academics as well as practicals. Of course, we also nowadays work for the Sustainable Development Goals or Global Goals of the United Nations. In fact, Mitraniketan, since beginning working with these global goals, though we don't call it global goals, because we are working for eradication of poverty, we are working for universal education, we are working for gender equality, clean drinking water and sanitation. These are the areas we are working since beginning. So ultimately, we wanted to project Mitraniketan as a small community or as a model of education and development so that others can replicate. Even many of our Viswanathan's idea is that this small community should be a model, others, our students should replicate. We have a few models in different parts of Kerala. people started small communities in the line of Mitraniketan, maybe like a non-profit organization or like education centers and all. Then this photo of Vishwanathan is taken 5 years before his death. Of course, we should continue the legacy of Morgan as well as Viswan. Mitraniketan is, of course, the living embodiment of Morgan's educational and societal philosophy, I would say, at this point of time. And the creation of an education-based cooperative community in India fulfilled the lifelong goals of both Morgan and Vishwanathan. We will continue and follow the ideas, philosophies, and what they visualized, that we will continue in Mitraniketan as a small community. Thank you very much. This is what I wanted to briefly present. Thank you.
Thank you, Reghu. We have time, I understand, for a few questions, and I noticed in the chat, someone else is curious about the impact of COVID on Mitraniketan.
Yes, we have a COVID has an impact in the community because the school has been closed for almost 1.5 years. It's now started opening. And in the case of the folk high school, the community college, fortunately, the young students, where we are continuing the education through online process. Of course, we were forced to close the whole community for 2 months in 2020 and about 1 month in 2021. And during that period, in the first phase in 2020, we are able to pay for the staff members. In the second phase, we have reduced the payment to 50%. The activities, all activities are affected, because Mitraniketan is always depend on the visitors. Mitraniketan is a model community. At least 5,000 to 10,000 people visit every year from India and abroad. So that has been totally stopped. That is the main impact, and that will affect all our activities, income and all. But fortunately, the things are slowly coming up. In India, I don't know why the reason. In India, everywhere COVID has come down, but Kerala, it is still stable in some places, but it is coming down. And our colleges are started opening, schools are started opening next month onwards. But unfortunately, I would like to mention that like last year, since last 2-3 days, there is heavy rain in Kerala, flood in certain parts of the hilly states like Idukki and all. But COVID has an impact everywhere. It affected Mitraniketan community also, but we survived. We survived with the help of all of you, and we will be slowly reviving from the COVID impact now. I can see Geeta and Bob, the very early friends who visited us.
Yeah. There's another question in the chat about if there's any impact from the rise of militant Hindu nationalism. Has that affected Mitraniketan at all?
Your question is whether the rise of Hinduism has affected Mitraniketan. What is
no, it's the political Hinduism, I think, Reghu, with the central government.
Yes, yeah. We continue to follow the secular philosophy, and we keep away from these political groups and all. Vishwanathan wanted to keep away from politics and keep away from the caste-based social groups and following the secular strategy. As far as the political Hinduism is concerned, we are not approaching them for any of their help. We keep a independent stand as such. We are not approaching them. They are also not approaching us.
There are a couple more questions, and Susan is going to interrupt me at some point, but the question was how climate has impacted Mitraniketan and rural Kerala, the climate changes. What are you seeing?
Yes, definitely. Climate change has been severely affected. For the last 3 years, continuously we have flood. Now it is happening. Yesterday, there was a landslide in our hilly district, Idukki, and it is just now reported that 25 people, including many children, has died because of the landslide, and the a climate department, they are saying that climate change has affected the Kerala state also. And also it really affected the farming community, because earlier years, Lee, you know that our monsoon is exactly start on 1st of June and it continues for 2 months. Now it has been totally changed. So the climate change is affected this state. The temperature also increased to 1 to 2 degrees compared to the last 10, 15 years.
Okay, one more question.
The other question out here is, to what impact in America, Reghu, we hear about the farmer strikes in Delhi. Have the farm strikes affected Kerala and Mitraniketan at all?
No, farmer strike is not affected Kerala and Mitraniketan. It is actually in the North India, Northeast India, Punjab and all those places where they cultivate a large area of wheat. So government has a system earlier, even now the system continues. The system is that we have a Food Corporation of India, that Government of India institution collect the rice, wheat and all those agriculture products produced by the farmers. Now this particular government tried to change the law so that the corporate will have an opportunity to buy the material from them so that they can increase or lower the rate, against which the farmers are doing the strike. But the Modi government said that we are not implementing the law for another 1.5 years. But still the farmers continue to strike because they said you should withdraw the law. Not even after 1.5 years, they may again introduce the law. That is the thing, you know. But the government will not be in a position to introduce this law.
Wow. Well, Reghu, Aravind, thank you very much. You're very articulate, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you both.
It's a pleasure for me. I learned a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I appreciate
It's
it.
really wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.